Hello fellas, how are you? It's nice to see you. Welcome to the weekly world of friendship shaving. Got some nice things this week. I'm going to start with a review of a new brush that I've bought, and it is this rather beautiful DeLuxe 24mm synthetic brush, which came in the post very recently. I've used it a couple of times. I love this colour. It's absolutely fabulous. The razor I'll be using today is a Star razor, a British made razor. I have the box here so you can see. This one is called the Embassy version, or the Embassy set rather, and you can see from the pencil marking on the box that it originally cost 7 shillings, and it was made at the Star division of the Ever Ready Razor Products Limited in London, NW9. Now, I have never ever seen one of these before. It comes in a little plastic case, which if I open that up and take the razor out, you can see it has a plastic holder for Star hollow ground razors. It's in very nice condition, and there is the razor. It's quite a lightweight razor. It has Star embossed on the head cap. So I'll be using this today and trying to pick your brains as we go along. I'm going to be using that with a Repairer Platinum Luxe, and it's my second use of the blade, so we'll put that straight in the razor. And I'm also going to be using today some Mitchell's Wool Fat shaving soap. The reason I'm using that is that I've been using a spray for my eyes, and it's one of these where you close your eye and spray from about here, and typically the spray hits all of this part of your face, obviously on both sides, and feeling my skin, it's absolutely wrecked my skin. Now, I used the soap the other day and it really burned and blistered a little bit on these parts of my face. So I'm just using the Mitchell's Wool Fat because it's made for sensitive skin and I won't have any problems today. So I'll rinse my face, tell you a bit about the brush, and we'll get going. Now, the brush is Canadian. It comes from the DeLuxe Shaving Company. I emailed them and got them to send me one because I just love the colour. I love it. The knot in this one is set slightly shorter than my other synthetics. So if I hold it up next to my 203, you can see that it's slightly shorter there. And similarly on my Crown King switchback, it is shorter still. So that gives it a lovely bit of backbone, but it displays very nicely. It's really comfortable to hold, and I think the colour is gorgeous. I think you could call this a modern classic. So we'll get that wet, and I'll stop talking for 2 seconds and we'll get that on to this pack of soap. Now, the brush that I've got is called the Retro DeLuxe, and it's actually reduced. because the colour variation on the bottom of the brush here is not even throughout. Now, I've had a close look at that, and I think their quality control standards must be very high indeed, because it's a lovely, lovely brush. But rather than them being $23, it was $14.95. They also do a silver tip, 30mm silver tip, and that's the same. It's diminished on the bottom, but rather than being $60, or actually it's $59.99, they are selling that for $42. So I think that is a terrific buy. A terrific buy, and this one is so good I kind of wished that I bought the silver tip now. It's got a lovely weight. It's heavy in the bottom of the handle, but it's not just heavy there, it's balanced. It's quite substantial. I'm really, really impressed with it. And I think in 50 years it'll be brushes like these that shaving enthusiasts are looking to restore. Now this Mitchell's Wool Fat has dried out a little bit. Well, it's dried out a lot. I haven't used it for ages. So I don't want it to be too watery, and I'm not picking up a great amount of soap, but we will have to see how we go. Covered. This is a lovely feel. I like this. This really is a retro brush. I think if you held it up next to a retro brush, someone who didn't know wouldn't know the difference between the modern one and the retro. And well, you're getting in now, aren't you, chaps? I just love this brush. There we are, we're starting to get a bit of a decent lather going. Now I've got no idea what my razor is going to shave like today. As I say, I have never seen one of these razors before. There are not many star razors that come up on the auction sites that are made in Britain. So when I saw this one, I got it straight away. It was less than £10, and it really is in remarkably nice condition. It has been used. There was a filthy Wilkinson sword blade in there, but it has been cleaned, scrubbed and disinfected to within an inch of its little life. There we are, I think that's quite nice. tell you as much as I know about the razor as we're going along. I'll have to put my glasses on because my notebook is just down here. But we shall get started first. It's a very nice feel. It's got a very narrow diameter to the handle, so it is a small razor, 3-inch handle. I've tried to get some information from the forums, and Poppy from the Shave Den said that he has an American one that shaves very much very nicely, and it's a little bit more aggressive than a Tech. Now, I don't have a Tech, so that doesn't mean much to me, but it might give you some idea. Now, a bit of history, because you know I like a bit of history. I won't go right back, but suffice to say that in 1919, Gem, Eveready and Star merged to become the Persona American Safety Razor Company. And can I just say, fellas, this is a nice shave. Very nice indeed. In 1936, that company built their first plant in Britain, and I'm pretty sure that it was the plant in London. There was for a time a plant in Glasgow, but I managed to find a picture on the internet taken in 1953. Of the plant in London. And although the picture was taken in the 50s, the front of the building was very much that Art Deco 1930s style. Now, I don't know how long production at either plant continued for. There is another Eveready company. It's the Eveready Company Great Britain, and they did batteries, transistors, torches, things like that, but that is an entirely different company. Do you know, this is a very nice razor. So what would it be? 1939, the end of 1939, there would have been World War II, and I know that in America the American Safety Razor Company stopped their razor production and only produced 40% of the razor blades that they used to produce, because all the raw materials were turned over for the war effort, and a lot of their machinery was turned over to make shell casings, magazines and ammunition during the war. Now, I don't see why that would be any different in Britain, so I'm just assuming that the same thing would have happened over here. But I've got no UK info on any of the razors really produced during the time of their production. Only things I've seen are from old advertisements. And I've seen a 1951 advertisement from that London factory for Star razor blades. And I've also seen a 1953 advertisement for the Ever Ready Streamline razor. So that's the period we're looking at. One would assume, because they were producing those blades in 1951, those Star blades, that the factory wasn't too damaged by German bombing during the war. But really that's all the information I could find. So I'm kind of hoping that one of you guys out there will know something more about the Star Embassy set, or some of the razors that were produced in the UK. I've just never seen one like this before. I know there's one that has Persona written on the cap, but I think that's a much later razor. I'm not exactly sure. But I've literally, that's as much information as I've been able to find. Oh, this brush is so soft, it's lovely. When you go like that, it kind of sucks onto your face. It's absolutely tremendous. I think this is a really good place to get a bargain. If you can cope with the paint not quite being even on the bottom, I think this is the place to go. The knot obviously will come down to about here, but about here is the balance point. It seems quite balanced. It's very good quality. I love these retro brushes, I must admit. That's another thing, you know. Those Ever Ready brushes that you all have in the United States, we don't have them over here. I mean, sure, there is the odd one that appears on an auction site that somebody's bought, and you know, they're reselling it in this country. But they can't have been produced in this country. And it's such a shame, because some of those Ever Ready brushes are really iconic. On the auction sites we seem to have a great many of the Ever Ready 1912 razors, made in England or British made. A few streamlines, not that many though. And really that's about it. But I notice if I go on a French auction site, they have a lot more Star razors. So it's just a curiosity there. And I wonder, apart from the streamlines and this Embassy set, I wonder if they made other razors. you know this is a nice razor. That was effortless against the grain. It's a really nice weight, very comfortable in the hand. I know there are a couple of the American equivalents up for sale at the moment. But from my experience of this one, with that Rapira blade, very nice indeed. Just a quick aside, fellas, talking about Rapira and Russian blades. I had a comment from Mike last week, who lives in Russia. Now, I was talking about the assumption that I made, that because a lot of these blades are made in Russia, both in Moscow and St. Petersburg, that they would be readily available in the US. Sorry, in Russia. And Mike assures me that that's not the case, and that Voskhod, for example, my favourite blade, are almost impossible to find on retail in his city. And that Gillette, with their cartridge razors, are already well established, and cartridge razors are just for sale over there everywhere as they are here. He does say that the soap market is very underdeveloped. And he in fact buys his soap from Magar's razors. Such is the beauty of a worldwide economy. But yes, just a little aside there. And the guard razor that I talked about last week, that Gillette have brought out in India to try and replace the razor blade. I've managed to order one. It didn't come in time for this week's shave, but it will be here soon enough. And I'll be able to show you. Now that, I'm just going to leave it at 2 passes. But that was a very nice shave indeed. I'll just show you again. You can see, you maybe can't see on the bottom, but it says Star, British made. And I'll wash this lovely brush out. I shall clean it properly in a moment, but I just wanted to hold it up next to my vintage Fuller and to show you that, you know, there isn't a world of difference between them, is there? You know, if you didn't know about shaving brushes, would you be able to pick out which one was the vintage and which one was the new one? I love these coloured brushes, very nice indeed. There we are, I'll give that a proper rinse in a little while. It's very nice, that Mitchell's Wolf, that soap. I don't use it often enough. It's very moisturising. That's perhaps the reason I don't use it as much as I would. But if you have sensitive skin, and I'm beginning to wonder if I might with all the trouble I've been having recently, and that is a really, really wonderful soap. It just smells of clean soap. There's no scent in it. It's lanolin soap, of course, made with wool fat from a recipe that goes back a long, long time. It's the original recipe. Now that was a wonderful shave. Thanks for bearing with me, fellas, while I get cleaned up. I'd love to hear your thoughts on my razor. And today I'm just going to use a little bit of Nivea for Men Sensitive Post-Shave Balm, some of the good stuff. This is another great product that I like. It's always in my den. I've only got space for 6 bottles, so I've got another bottle of that waiting to go. But I am thinking, can I just squeeze another bottle of aftershave in there? Oh, fantastic, man. Now I'm just going to put that around my face and around my forehead, because it's very good stuff. Oh, my skin feels amazing. That was a wonderful shave. So thank you for joining me, fellas, and I hope you've had a good week. Welcome to everybody that has joined recently, both as a subscriber, a watcher, or a member of the Facebook group. It's very nice to have you along, and it's very nice of everyone else to come along as well. It pleases me greatly. So you take care of yourselves. I hope you have a great week. Let me know what you're shaving with this week in your comments. I'd love to know. I'd be very interested. All the best now. Take care. Bye bye.